Welcome to another edition of Transparency in Government. This is our school edition. We are here with Scott Laliberte. I always want to change that pronunciation, but I'm not going to. It's what he's lived with. So we're going to talk about what's going on for the end of the school year and the summer. And today is May 25th, 2017. And I hope that you will enjoy the show. So Scott, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see
We
you.
had expected to have Nate with us, but
We did, yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
We'll have to just say happy retirement to him because he's not going to be here. So happy retirement, Nate. This was going to be his last show on Transparency in Government, but I do hope to have him on One Voice at a Time to talk about some other kinds of issues with children and education. It will be interesting. So, but for today, Scott, our new superintendent as of July 1.
Correct.
And the first thing that we have to talk about is how he already got himself some help. You have a new assistant.
It was a very interesting and unique process to, interview and search for your own replondment.
Yes.
Which isn't something you do a lot.
No, you don't.
But in this situation we did, and very, very fortunate. Londonderry, as we know, is a very strong district. Drew a nice pool of candidates.
Yes.
It was very, very competitive search. We had a lot of experienced people. Ultimately,
and who was the
committee, Dan Black is our choice.
Tell us about
was approved
Dan.
by the board. Dan is currently working as the assistant superintendent in Keene.
Okay.
He and his family live in Amherst, and the commute to Keene was wearing down on him.
Oh, that's a long commute.
He's a young guy, young family, and wants to be a little closer to home so he can have a little more time. He has twin 6-year-olds.
Oh my goodness.
So you can imagine.
Boys or girls?
One boy, one girl.
One boy, girl.
Yeah.
One of each.
So Dan had applied for the position. We felt like he was a great fit. Had some very nice experience.
Okay.
And they went through quite a process. And
lots of energy.
a lot of energy,
He needs
very
that,
creative.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
You know.
We know that was high on the list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan brings some very, very interesting experience. He started out his teaching career in Teach for America, teaching down in Texas.
Wow.
In some very challenging
Yeah.
circumstances down there. It was how he met his wife. And then,
She was a challenging circumstance?
She was also teaching.
Oh, okay.
I haven't met her yet.
You got to be careful how you say things.
Dan speaks. That's true. Yeah, Dan speaks very highly of her. So
Okay.
we'll go with that.
All right.
But she's. So they met down there. Dan, had taught for a while, moved into administration. Another interesting fact from Dan's past: he taught for a time in the New York City public school system. He actually opened a charter middle school.
Really?
In a district in one of the districts in New York City,
Wow.
in Brooklyn. As you may or may not be aware, the New York City public school system will go in to districts that are underperforming, and they sort of take those districts over, and what they do is they replace the existing schools with charter schools. And Dan actually was a part of that process, and he was the founder and principal of a charter middle school in inner city New York.
Was it one of the ones that had like a specialty?
His didn't, from what I understand. His was more it was more around the pedagogy and the delivery piece. But just that kind of experience really sort of
creating a school system, basically.
Right, right.
That's a lot.
Lit a fire for him, and he and his family moved up to New Hampshire. His wife's originally from here. And
she's great anyway. So,
there we go. There we go. She's a physician and works in the Manchester area. And they moved up to Amherst. And as I said, he's been going to Keene and said he wants to be a little closer to home.
Oh, so, yeah, that is an awful ride.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when you're going for pleasure, it's a long ride.
Right.
Not to do it every day, both ways.
Yeah. So neat experience, real strong background. And he has some strengths that we're really going to build upon. Okay. I think he and I will complement one another well, just as Nate and I do. So,
Terrific. Okay.
Yeah.
That's compliment with an E, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, we'll have him on the show. We've got to meet him for
Absolutely.
ourselves and see what we think.
Sure.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Don't scare him though.
Oh, no worries there.
Okay. So I also wanted to talk to you about what's coming up for the summer. Okay.
Yes.
We've got a lot of summer programs. You've got the enrichment program for the kids,
We do. We do.
and that's always a fascinating
Yes.
list of
I'm always, the teachers generate the programming, and we just sort of organize it and
Yeah,
offer the
yeah.
opportunity. We have some really neat STEM, science, tech, engineering programs that we're offering this summer.
Yeah.
Doug Stith and some of his colleagues from the middle school are doing some pre-engineering programs. Of course, we have some literacy programs for our younger students as well.
Great.
So a lot of neat offerings, and it's a chance for students to
Well,
sort
how do
of keep
people
their
get
skills
how do
sharp.
people get their kids involved in these?
We actually have a link on the website,
Okay.
and they can go on and take a look at the programming. I know we actually have a few programs that are full already.
Wow.
I know some of the STEM programs were full on the first day.
Not
Yep.
surprising.
Went out,
Yeah.
and we have a
Yeah.
waiting list.
Yeah.
We're trying to actually add sections if we can.
That'd be
So,
great.
yeah.
That would be great.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
there's something to do to keep your kids out of trouble for the summer, right?
Absolutely.
Now, are they still doing the summer program for the kids through the recreation department?
I believe they
Is
are.
that still
Yeah,
happening?
I believe so.
forgot to mention it to Kevin.
Yeah, we
So-
don't have a lot of connection with them, but I know that
But
it's
just
it's a
do-
pretty
yeah,
well-developed
yeah,
program.
Yeah, and I know the kids love it.
Yeah,
It's always been very popular.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, what are you doing with the teachers this summer?
Well, we've got a lot. Summer is one of those times where we try to take advantage to the greatest degree possible of that kind of time.
Heaven forbid they have a vacation.
Well, they find time for that
Yeah,
too.
right, a little bit.
But we do, we like to use that time for training in PD to the greatest degree possible. We offer
Right.
it. They can take advantage of it. This year in particular, we're doing some work around math and elementary school math. We have.
Are we still
have some
doing
coming
new
in.
math?
No, it's actually the current program that we are working under. We've been working under for about 3 or 4 years. Is a little closer to probably what you
Real
and I
math?
grew up with. It's a mastery-based
Okay.
approach, which is
Okay.
really interesting because all things move in a circle, right? And so we, for a
Do know
while,
that.
there was a movement to what we call in the business a spiral-based approach, which is sort of what you're describing. It was that just keep moving, and eventually the kids will get it. And now what we're finding, and you hear a lot about how some other countries are outperforming us in some of
That's
these
why?
areas.
Back to the.
They are actually using a mastery-based approach.
Okay.
Which You learn something until you know
You
it,
learn it,
and then
yep.
you move on. And that's what we're going back
Boy,
to.
that makes so much sense to me.
It made a lot of sense to a lot of us, I think.
I know
but-
my poor little niece she's in an elementary school in Massachusetts, and I was on the phone with her one night, and I'm like, so the usual, how's school going, whatever, and she said, I hate math. I'm like, you hate math?
Right.
And I said,
Right.
do you hate it because you don't understand it, or what? And she said, even Nana doesn't understand.
Right.
She'd bring it home and she'd try and get help from her mother or her grandmother, and they were like bewildered. So I went online. She told me what she was doing. I went online with all intentions of learning how to help her. I came off of there thinking, I don't even know what math is.
Right.
It was just so incredibly confusing. And so I said, well, you know what? I said, you try and do your best with that and work with the teacher. We'll teach you how to add and subtract, multiply and divide at home. So
Right.
I hope
Right.
it goes away. She still has it this year. So
Well, I know a lot of the research that has come out, even with, because if you look at where the fail point is with math skills, it's right around 7th or 8th grade, which is where you get into the more advanced discrete type of mathematical topic.
yeah.
What you find is if you dig in on
Go
that a little
back.
bit, the shortcoming is in 7th and 8th grade. It's numeracy.
Third.
Yeah, numeracy, numbers,
Yeah.
and those addition,
Early,
subtraction.
yeah.
And what happens is kids learn the procedure, so they learn how to do a problem,
Yep.
but they don't necessarily learn the concept behind
They don't
it.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
how to do
yeah.
3 plus 2.
Yeah.
but I don't really conceptualize in my mind, there are three of these and two of these. And,
Yeah.
right,
See,
they just learn the
it was
rules.
so good when we used our fingers.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of the strategies and tools that we're using now are manipulative.
Yes.
It's,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
When,
your fingers.
just a quick aside, when
Yeah.
my daughter was in kindergarten, her kindergarten teacher was also taking early education classes at UNH. So she would come back to kindergarten class and she would try it out on the kids. And one of them had to do with, I forget what volume, I think was what the concept. And she took 10 little soldiers and she clumped them all together and she said, "How many are there?" And they would count. And then she would spread them out. And they thought there were more because it took up a bigger space. And she would rearrange them again. And every time she rearranged them, now these are like 4 or 5-year-olds, they would think it was a different number. So she asked my daughter, this is all done, one-on-one. She asked my daughter, she goes, "How many are there?" 10. "How many are there?" 10. "How many are there?" 10. And she tried it one more time, and Cindy said, "Carol, there's only 10. And Carol called me and she said, "Your daughter ruins every experiment I try."
That's a great example of the concept. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a great example
yeah.
of that whole idea of understanding the concept instead of just understanding
yeah.
the
Yeah.
procedure.
But they tried a few
Yeah.
new things when she was in school that confused her too.
Yeah,
I think I still have some of the manipulative things up in my attic somewhere.
right.
But no, it's great that they're going to get back to something that the kids can understand, use, conceptualize, go from one situation to another,
Yeah. And
and still have it work.
Well, in the text series that we're bringing in now, we're going to be introducing over the next couple of years, has actually already been implemented in the middle school.
Okay,
So it's going to match up K-8.
going to pull them all together.
And it'll pull everything together. And the nice part about it is that there are some technology tools that are involved in that, some online
You
pieces.
do like that stuff, don't you?
I like the stuff that works.
Yeah.
I don't like the trendy stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my
No,
that's
that's
my
exact-
baggage.
yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to chase the cool stuff. We want to use, we want to read the research
What
and
works?
do the homework.
What works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
there's
like
some
that.
tools that work.
There are.
Yeah.
There absolutely are.
You just can't jump at whatever comes
Yeah.
down the pipe.
Yeah.
And that what's nice about this is that we have already done the homework on it. We know what it'll do. For example, there are some resources for parents who want to help their children at home. Explain how the
Important.
problems are done.
Yeah. Parents are going to be very grateful for math that
Yeah.
they can understand.
Right.
They really are.
Right. Right.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it is good. Also, one of the things that I've always liked about the Londonderry school system is the attitude of that we meet that kid where they are,
Right.
and then bring them forward.
Right.
Okay, because you can't take 30 kids and expect that they're all in exactly the same place.
Right.
So, and that happens in school districts that don't invest in their education, and I don't just mean money-wise, I mean
Right.
policy-wise.
Policy-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Resources,
So,
class size, those kind
Yeah.
of things are big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very
So
important.
they're going to do the math. What else are they
Yep.
going to do this summer?
One of the things that our high school staff and some of our middle school staff are investigating a little bit more are some of the opportunities that might be out there with the new idea of competencies. As you know, we in 2007 to 2009, there was a transition that went underway in the state where we no longer award credit based
Right.
on seat time. You know, Carnegie unit was what we called it. It was 120 hours of sitting in a chair, right?
Yep.
And
I can do that.
Right. You know, a lot of kids could,
Yeah.
and you know, it didn't. So what happened back during that time is we were asked to shift all of our ways of designating student learning. Instead of doing that, we want to focus on show us what you can do. So you'll earn the credit when you've demonstrated that you can do that. And then we know that different kids might do that at different times, as you were just saying.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So we feel like there are some areas at the middle school and high school level where we can investigate ways to move kids ahead or at their own pace, whether
Yeah.
it's quicker or slower,
Yeah.
if we can do a better job of assessing what they know through competencies. We certainly have a staff that has the talent to be able to do something like that. And again, we're not going to chase fads. It is a kind of a trendy thing in education. But we're going to look at our current program. We're going to look at the way it's set up. It's served us very well.
Yeah.
What we're going to say are there opportunities within that program to move kids at their pace if we do that. A good example of that, something like foreign language is the one that everyone uses. If you have a student who comes in whose family speaks a foreign language in their house, and they can pass the final exam for, say, French 1 on the first day of class, why are
Then
they
why
sitting
not?
there the whole
Yeah,
time?
yeah,
If they
okay.
demonstrate
Cool.
that competency, you start them in French 2. That sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
I like it.
something that we're exploring. Like I said, I'm not a fan of chasing fads, but what we do is we do
I'm
the
glad.
research first.
Yeah,
We'll do the research into that.
yeah.
We've got a nice team of teachers and administrators that are going to be attending an institute on that. And what they'll be doing is evaluating what we have and looking for opportunities within our curriculum
Sounds good.
to be able to use that kind of a strategy.
Sounds good.
Those are the two
Two
big ones.
Okay.
And then obviously I've got a new team coming in. I've got a
Yeah.
lot of new
people. Yeah.
new people coming in, so we're going to do a little bit of
Get 'em
work with
ready.
our leadership team. We're going to do some PD and some leadership development.
Sounds
Do a
good.
little bit of that too.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people forget too that that, so many people think the teachers only work like what, 9.5 months a year, but they have to also keep up their credentials.
Right.
So most of them do end up doing things over the summer, workshops in different areas.
Yeah.
So they're not just hanging out by the pool all summer long.
No, we don't have many here who do that.
That 9, sometimes 9.5 months that they are working, even though there are some vacations in there,
Right.
they're long days.
I taught high
And
school
people
English.
forget that.
Yeah. I taught high school English,
Yeah.
and I can remember Friday night going home with a bag with 100 5-page papers in it.
There
and
goes your weekend.
that was my weekend. So
Yep.
yeah, we and if you do it right, it's a year-round job. You do take a little time to recharge your batteries, but
You have to.
we got a great staff
You have
here.
to, yeah. And when I was working, when the television studio was in the high school, I got to see firsthand how long people were there.
Right.
So they were there usually in the morning by 6:30,
Right.
unless you were Ed Thibodeau, who was there at like 5, I think. And
I've heard that about it.
yeah. And when I would leave at like 7, he was still there.
Right.
Sometimes I thought he slept in his office. If he sleeps, I don't know. But anyway, but no, there were long, long days put in, and a lot of them also have extracurricular activities that they involve themselves with the kids and sports and all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
So it is a long day, even though it may look like a short year for them. So let's give
Yeah.
them some credit for that.
Well,
And we've got great teachers here in Londonderry.
You can't do the job well by just working the hours that you're posted.
Nope.
And we have a lot of people who do it very
Very
here.
well. Yeah, we
yeah,
do.
we're
yeah.
very fortunate.
Yeah, I've always felt that the majority of our teachers, the overwhelming majority of our teachers, are here because it's their calling,
Yes.
not because it's a paycheck or
Right.
a job. It's their calling. It's what they need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
That's important. They take better care of our kids that way.
And you do.
So what else have we got going on here? We did the summer enrichment. I know what is happening, or what do you think might happen, as far as the federal budget? And I know that we don't actually have one yet,
Right.
but we certainly do have a lot of discussion about one. And are there any things that you think we need to kind of keep an eye on? Maybe let our New Hampshire legislators know how we feel about it?
I mean, one of the things that has sort of become clear, I know that, when President Trump appointed Secretary DeVos, the charge was pretty clear with a move towards a shift to greater support for charter schools.
Yes.
That was, there was no secret made about that.
None at all.
It's something that we're watching very carefully. Certainly have nothing against charter schools.
If you can
they serve an
support
important
both, go
purpose.
ahead.
Right. I think that would be the point we would make.
I can see
we
some
feel pretty good.
advantages if you have a child that has this really strong
Right.
what's the word I'm looking for? Not communications, obviously. But if they really have a very strong feeling towards music.
Right.
Or
yeah. So
some,
like an
yeah,
aptitude
something like that.
or a
that's
gift.
the word I was looking
Yeah.
for, an aptitude or a gift.
Yeah.
If that's where they want to go,
Yeah.
then that's great.
Right.
If you can have
Right.
a school that can work around that and also teach them all the basic stuff they need to
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
wonderful. But I do get concerned that right now it's pulling support away from public schools. You can't
Right.
take that public school away. That is
Right.
still the basis of our democracy.
Right.
That's where our kids all get the same as best we can. But
And the role
That's
that,
the goal.
the connection for us here in Londonderry would be through things like support for students with disabilities.
oh, absolutely.
That's a
Yeah.
key component.
Yeah, and it's not there for the charter schools.
No, they don't really live by the same standards that
Not
we do
at
in
all.
that regard.
Not at all.
Things like Title I, our Title I program, which offers students who are below grade level
Yeah.
additional support.
Yep.
Math and reading in particular. And as we've discussed in previous shows, as you know, the school lunch program,
Yeah.
our high school is not on the school lunch program, but elementary and middle school are. So those are all things that we're watching very carefully. That's one of my takeaways from 3 years of working with Nate is, nobody pays attention like Nate does, and
Yeah.
I'm certainly going to
Yeah.
try to adopt that same kind of a mindset. Because as he said, anything that's taken away from us really leaves us with two choices. If we lose that support for the reading support, it's either going to have to be absorbed by local taxpayers or
It goes away.
it's going to go away.
Yeah.
So we really try to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Obviously we know we're early on in the budget process, but that's something that we're watching very closely.
And that has definitely been one of my takeaways from the charter school issue is that they, when you try to compare the two, it's like apples and oranges, because you can't take the overall academic achievement of a public school and compare it to a specific charter school and see the same thing, because we do take care of everyone.
Right.
Okay, and they can reject
They
whoever they
can,
wish, usually.
They also aren't
So-
subject to the same accountability
Yep.
rules that we are. That
yeah.
they're not taking some of the same tests that we are.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
what a lot of us have expressed in this process is, like, we're not afraid of competition.
No.
We have a strong school district here,
Yeah, yeah.
and we really believe in what we're doing.
Yeah.
If there are other schools that can come in and provide pieces of the puzzle that we're not, that's fantastic.
it.
We're asking that they abide by the same rules that we do. They need to be able to provide for students
Yeah.
with disabilities.
And we also have to remember, too, that we're talking about Londonderry.
Right.
And we're not in bad shape at all.
No.
We're in good shape. But if we look at this, I was very active in the PTA, okay, which is the parents, teachers, all, versus the PTO, parent, teachers, one, okay. The PTA is involved with all kids all over the country and all over the world to make sure that they're getting what they need. The PTO is concerned with its own school. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think there is a bigger picture. Your kid's going to leave that school and go into a bigger world, and then a bigger world, and a bigger world. I have the lofty desire that we have all of our children being treated fairly and taught well and, taken care of. And so I think that even though Londonderry's in good shape, we need to keep our minds open that there are a lot of kids in this country that are not in good situations.
Right.
And if you open a charter school in their area, it can be very detrimental to them. It can mean that they have even less than they have now.
Right.
And that's not what we should be doing. We should be building them up.
Sure.
So, because
Yeah.
that takes a piece away, it doesn't fill a piece in.
Right.
So that's my spiel for now. Okay. So, but if you have any concerns, okay, if people have concerns about the budget, the one that they're talking about today, or the one that ends up actually getting passed eventually,
Right.
we have, our legislators that go to Washington and vote on that. So give them a call. They all have email. They all have phone numbers. You can contact them. Sometimes you can even get them on the phone and talk to them directly. Especially in New Hampshire, we seem to have a pretty good way of connecting with our legislators. So feel free to give them a call and let them know what you think about the budget. It doesn't just have to be about education. You can talk to them about anything. So, but I was also concerned when I saw that DeVos was going to be the Secretary of Education, because you need an open mind. You need to be looking at all of the schools and all of the education.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Sure.
So, and how, this is I'm hitting you with this one, you didn't even mention it before, but how about our Education Secretary for the state of New Hampshire? We don't call him a secretary, we call him
he's a commissioner.
Commissioner.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Commissioner Edelblue also came in with a similar kind of mindset,
Okay.
similar experience, doesn't have a background in education.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. But
some of the times I've seen him speak, he refers to his experiences. He homeschooled his own children, refers to that, and that's certainly, I think, something that he is supportive of. I think in a larger sense, it's going to be an interesting process to watch him sort of come inside of the realm of
what's
government.
really going on out there, yeah.
And really try to lead in an area that he's not all that familiar with.
Yeah.
So I certainly, I don't think I'd want to be in his shoes. But I know from our standpoint,
I don't even understand how he got into his shoes.
Yeah,
With
didn't
no
follow
background in education, but
didn't follow it.
Yeah.
But he does have a private sector background, is challenging us, and I think that's one of those sets of circumstances where it's going to force us to kind of more sharply define who we are and what we do in our district. And
that's not always a bad thing.
I don't think so.
You know, you have to take
so.
another look and look at it from a different objective. And
Anything that causes you to take a closer look at what you do and analyze it and reflect on it, I think is a positive thing.
Yeah.
As I said,
And
we're
then all
fortunate.
he has to do is listen.
We're
and
hoping he
learn.
will do that.
Yep.
We're hoping he will do that. We'll see. I haven't had a lot of dealings with him yet, but I know he's sounds like he's doing a lot of work in the Concord
Okay, well, he's putting
Concord
in the
loop right
time.
now. And
Putting
we'll,
in the time, okay.
one of the things that I keep saying, a lot of people are concerned about that. And one of the things that I've said to a lot of people who have engaged me on that topic is one of the things that makes me so excited to work in New Hampshire public education is this concept of local control.
Yeah.
We really do
Yeah.
carry the bulk of our control
Right here.
right here in Londonderry. And I like working in that kind of an environment because we can be innovative. We can be a little more attentive to the needs and requirements of our community
Yep.
and the expectations that our parents and our taxpayers have of us.
Yeah.
It's less about, well, there are a few things we have to do for compliance purposes, but if you look at some of our neighboring states that have
It's-
sort of that state-heavy
Yeah.
mindset, you see a lot of people who work at my level kind of going,
What can I do?
there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
The state says I
Yeah.
have to do this.
Yeah.
Even if there were to be some kind of a major seismic shift in standards or in, the assessment practices or even some of the regulatory things, we still have a lot of control over our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
And what we do is still going to be reflective of the values of Londonderry. That's who I work for. And those are, we're going to continue to do
So that's something
what we're
important
doing.
for us to keep our eye on and make sure it stays that way.
Right.
Make sure it stays that way.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
so anything else going on that we should, we're coming up on the
boy.
end of the year, and there must be like quite a schedule there, but
They're coming fast and furious. I had a chance the other evening to attend the top 10 dinner at the high school.
Yes, yeah.
Jay Parent just started that last year with the top 10 students and their families come in
Yeah.
for dinner. What a neat experience that was.
Was it? Yeah.
We're kind of getting into the end of year celebratory things. We
Yeah,
got baccalaureate
yeah.
coming up, graduation coming up. This is an exciting time. It's an exciting time because you're watching all the students prepare to transition to that
Yeah,
next grade
yeah,
level,
yeah.
and really you get to see the students at commencement,
Yeah.
and where they're really coming to the end of the process here in Londonderry, and more importantly, going on to a lot of other
Absolutely.
really cool opportunities.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's an exciting time of
Our
year.
kids usually have a very impressive list of schools that they're
Yeah.
going on to.
Still coming in, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be out with that soon.
Yeah,
It's-
I'm
it's-
sure.
Yeah, it's filling in
yeah,
quick.
Yeah. So what is the last day of school this year?
Oh, geez. The last day,
Well, I
it
know
is
yours doesn't
Friday.
end, so
Yeah, we
yeah,
never,
it's a
we
little
never
different.
go.
Yeah.
It's, let's see, the teachers finish on Monday the I believe it's the 26th. So the Friday the 23rd. I
Okay,
may be off on
okay.
my dates there.
All
I
right.
rely on my calendar too much. But students end on that Friday, teachers come back Monday, and we
Okay.
close out
Okay.
on that Monday.
All right. And where's
So-
graduation held this year?
It's at the now Southern New Hampshire University Center,
Yes. Okay.
formerly Verizon
Verizon Center,
Wireless Center,
yes.
now SNU Center in Manchester.
Somehow
which is
SNU
really neat.
doesn't sound right, but okay.
There's, yeah, SNU. We throw it around. We work with them a lot. So
Yeah.
it's SNU, and everybody
Yeah.
looks at you like,
That's
what?
SNU?
Yeah, what's a SNU? But yeah,
Well, we
it
used
is
to
in
have
Manchester.
we used to have kids coming here
Yeah.
from SNU,
Right.
and they were
Right.
helping us as interns.
Okay.
So we're very familiar with SNU.
This is
But it
SNU.
just sounds funny when you're talking about the center. It really does.
Yeah.
So
It's a nice luxury to be able to have the ceremony there for our families.
oh yeah, it's a great venue. I mean,
Yeah,
and you got
you're
the
not
big
limiting
screen, so if
anything.
you can't see real close, you still got the big
Yeah.
screen, so you can see everything. And
I know I've been, sometime in my career, I'd worked in smaller districts where they could have it in the gym, and everybody gets 4 tickets, and that's what you get.
Yeah.
And there's always,
Yep.
you feel horrible.
People are negotiating and
Yeah.
doing whatever they can to
Right.
try and get more. And,
Right?
Yeah.
So it's such a great day for our
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
It's nice to have that as a resource to be able to say,
Yeah.
bring everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
And you
bring
probably
everyone.
don't have to have an ambulance on site to take people away from a heat stroke.
True, that's true.
We've had that. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a commencement
Hard to
address one year.
believe today it's what, 57 out there? But
I
we've
know,
had
it doesn't
happen
feel
before.
like Memorial Day.
Yeah.
But I remember at one point in my career, I did a commencement address on the back. Our stage was on the back of a flatbed truck.
Oh yeah, that's
and
common.
we were. It was about 97 or 98 degrees, and I had a suit on. And I remember
I think,
finishing.
yeah,
and,
I think I
you
might
know,
have sat out in the field out here
that
one year
same
when it
thing.
was about that. It was awful. Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at the poor kids in their gowns and think, oh, ooh. Yeah, we could.
Yep. So, so baccalaureate graduation. Do we have? There's another one. Something else that we do at the end of the year with the kids.
Oh, Jesus, so many. There's so
Yeah.
many things. We have Move
yeah,
Up Day coming up.
Yeah. And all the younger
Everybody
kids are going to
pumps up.
have their field days
The
and.
field days are
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Yeah. The end of the year, they have the sports banquet, the varsity banquets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Music has theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
we try. Nate and
Yeah.
I try to get around to as many things as we
As you
can,
can,
but
yeah.
you run out
Yeah, I'm
quick.
sure.
Retirement parties.
Yeah,
Might have one of those coming up. Don't tell Nate.
Maybe.
Yeah, don't tell Nate.
No, we won't
No.
tell. We won't tell
be
him at all.
surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we know he just want to be the first guy there if there is one.
We had to coax him into it. He wasn't real happy about it,
He's
but
not
he's
big
a,
on putting himself out front.
he's a humble
Never
guy.
has been. Yeah.
He's a humble guy. I think that's pretty admirable
Yeah, that
in
is
a
good.
leader.
Yeah.
You understand that you have a lot of responsibility, but a lot of, I think that's one of the things he's really taught me, is that yes, as you do carry things on your shoulders, but you represent a group of people more
Right.
so than,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Not trying to make yourself look good.
No, trying
Yeah.
to make us,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
always us.
us,
Us.
got to
Okay.
keep your pronouns
That
straight.
sounds good. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to
Boy, I
touch
think
on today?
We've covered a lot.
We did. We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I think
All set?
I'm all set. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we'll sign off for today, and we'll see you again next month.
Sounds good.
Good.
Yep.
All right. And let's see. No, Nate will be retired.
He will
So
be right
you
there.
will. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless we call him back as a special guest or something.
Oh, I definitely want to have him on. After that conversation we had at the last show,
Right.
that was just so interesting. When I talked to him about different
Yeah.
education things in a capacity as a retired superintendent. So
He may be, he may be a little freer to speak his mind. It could be
Oh,
quite an
this is
interesting.
true too, yeah.
Could be quite an
yeah.
interesting
With me speaking
conversation.
my mind and him speaking his mind, it could get crazy.
It could be quite a
So
show.
watch for that show, all right. And I want to thank you all for watching this show, and I hope that you will tune in again next month as well. And we will be meeting with our assistant superintendent one of these days real soon. Get to meet him and get to know him. So thanks for watching, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.